Ho ho ho! Happy Hacksmas, agents! Santa here, welcoming you to this week's Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by Pokemon Trainer Jay. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates, and rumors. Share comments on your podcast feed or on our socials in the show notes. And check the merch store out too. I've got you all on my nice list. So, no Dark XM for you this year. I hear one agent has Fit Rep rewards on their Christmas list. I'll see what I can do. Ho ho ho! On with the show.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents, and welcome to the 61st episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. In this week's episode, we're going over the end of the Erased Memories Anomaly series, as well as the new Anomaly series that's been announced, plus Alpha, and then going over the Q1 info and various updates that we've had, as well as some little bits for Scanniverse, Lightship, and Wayfarer as well. So first of all, as we usually do, I'll start with the Anomaly news, being the Erased Memories Anomaly results from on-the-ground anomalies that have happened this weekend, as well as the overall score and any lore we've got attached to that. The Erased Memories series has just concluded, agents, so I'm going to run through the scores from Christchurch, Nashville, and the Bounty Blitz 2 score. So for Christchurch, New Zealand, the raw score there for Battle Beacons was 269 points to Enlightened, 167 to Resistance, meaning the total season points there were 57.4 to Enlightened, 35.6 to Resistance. For Shards, the raw score was that Enlightened captured 11. There were 2 unscored, 3 for Resistance for the Shards. That means the total season points from that were 73.1 points to Enlightened, 19.9 points to Resistance. On Special Ops like Stealth Ops, it was 5 points to Resistance versus 2 to Enlightened for Stealth Ops. Urban Ops was 7 points to Enlightened versus 0 for Resistance. So that meant total points there were 9 points to Enlightened, 5 to Resistance from Stealth Ops and Urban Ops. Covert caches, where there weren't any captured last time, there were actually some captured this time around in Christchurch. There were no percentage boost ones captured by either faction. However, there were season points captured, so Resistance did capture 1 season point, and Enlightened captured 5 season points from the covert caches. That means that the total score from Christchurch, New Zealand's anomaly was 142 points to Enlightened, 61.5 to Resistance. So that meant after that anomaly, it was 699.7 points to Enlightened, 597.5 points to Resistance. I'll cover the Bounty Blitz and then Nashville, and then let you know the total final scores as well. The second and final Bounty Blitz as part of Erased Memories, which is the campaign where you complete bounties to help your faction win and contribute season points even if you're not at the anomalies. That has started and finished by the time I'm recording this. So to achieve any points in it, you had to complete at least 2 of the following bounties, so capturing any 40 portals, creating 20 links, uploading 5 portal scans, earning 20 overclock hack points, or earning 80 glyph points. Once you completed 2 of those, you can claim the assignment and then move on to the next step, which is basically redoing the whole thing again. The more bounties you completed, the more it contributed to your faction's overall percentage on it. For myself, I used up some of my scans I had stored up for Second Sunday to contribute portal scans there, captured some portals, just to make sure I did what I could for my faction. As I mentioned, it has concluded in time that I've been recording this. So the Resistance won Bounty Blitz 2. The score was Enlightened 45.5, Resistance 54.5. So that meant the gap in this overall series score closed and got a bit closer. So it was at that time 749.2 points to Enlightened, 655 points to Resistance. So that meant the anomaly in Nashville was going to decide the overall winner because things were close. Either faction could have won at that time. So I'll go and give you the results for Nashville and then the overall results as well. Nashville closes out for the Erased Memories Anomaly series. So for the raw score for the Battle Beacons, that was 287 points to Enlightened, 141 to Resistance. The total points there being 62.4 points to Enlightened, 30.6 to Resistance. For shards, 1 shard was unscored, so it was 11 shards to Enlightened, 0 to Resistance, so unfortunately we just got 0 points from shards, Enlightened got 93.0. Then from Stealth Ops and Urban Ops, Stealth Ops was pretty close, it was 4 points to Enlightened versus 3 to Resistance. Urban Ops was a bit more apart in being 5.6 points to Enlightened, 1.4 to Resistance. The total there was 9.6 points to Enlightened versus 4.4 to Resistance. Then for Covert Cache in Nashville, there were some percentage boosts captured. They were all captured by the Enlightened, actually all the Covert Caches were. So Enlightened got 7 of the percentage boosts, Covert Caches, 0 to Resistance. And the season point Covert Caches, Enlightened got 1, Resistance got 0. That means that the final event score for Nashville in itself was 171.3 points to Enlightened, 35 points to Resistance. If you've done some quick math and been following along, you'll know the final score, but I'll let you know that just now as well. The final score for Erased Memories is 916.6 points to Enlightened versus 686.6 points to Resistance. So the Enlightened capture the Erased Memories anomaly and win the series. If you've been following along for all of the 2024 series, that's a sweep for Enlightened for all of the anomalies held in this period. We don't yet have a lore update or anything that's happening from that, apart from something being erased or an attempt to erase something, as well as all the buried cryptic memories, previous stuff also looking to come back up. It'll be interesting to see what happens now. Obviously, there are a few little events coming up that I'll mention later, like the Christmas countdown, but we are pretty much done for Ingress events until the new year when we get into the plus alpha stuff. If you attended any of the anomalies, I'd be happy to hear how you felt they went, whether you felt you were outmatched, whether you were Enlightened or Resistance on there, because there were various attendance by the look of it at various shard skirmishes, various anomalies. I feel quite glad I was able to contribute a little bit via the Bounty Blitz and the Shard Skirmish as well at Oxford. So it's nice to be able to contribute in that way. I'm looking forward to things that are coming up in the new year. But now that I've got through the anomaly announcements, I'll get on with the rest of the podcast because I've recorded this a bit later to then slot in because I was waiting for the results to finish so then I could go to bed. But I'll let you get on with the rest of the podcast now, agents. Now that the Erased Memory series has concluded, agents are looking towards the new year and Q1, and we have had the name for the Q1 anomaly announced already along with the event schedule. So for Q1, the anomaly series is called Plus Alpha. So the plus symbol, and then Alpha, such as the Greek letter, or the robot from Power Rangers, maybe. I doubt that's got anything to do with it, but that's what it made me think of. So I'll get into the general Ingress news now and start talking about the events that are in the Plus Alpha January to March 2025 schedule. On the 9th of December, the Ingress team did publish the Q1 schedule. This is for January to March 2025. Again, as I said, the Plus Alpha series for this one. So I'll start off with January, obviously. So the 4th of January is the typical first Saturday that we usually get now that we're quite used to. You can register through Fev Games for that. The 12th of January brings us second Sunday, and that's from 12 a.m. local time to 11:59 p.m. local time, and gain the second Sunday campaign medal. I've mentioned various ways that you can do that and try and pre-aim that with scans. I've seen a few people do that now, but obviously earn the badge in whatever you think is the best way to do it. From the 18th of January to the 2nd of February, we'll have the Plus Alpha Global campaign. So we're used to this now where you earn a 2-tiered Plus Alpha Operation medal through the global operation. It says stay prepared for new directives. Usually this has been doing certain bounties to earn the medal and doing 4 or 8 to get the higher levels on there. I expect we'll see something very similar for this global campaign. Then finally in January from the 29th to the 31st is the Year of Snake celebration. If we are looking at previous Chinese New Years that Ingress has celebrated, they're generally celebrated by releasing a badge and sometimes some extra things. So they don't usually announce it's going for 2 days, so maybe we've got a little bit extra going on there. Then into February, the 1st of February is the first Saturday of that month. So again, you can apply to register through Fev Games there and then see what is going on in your local area. 9th of February brings us second Sunday, as I mentioned, going from 12 a.m. local time to 11:59 p.m. local time. The 15th of February brings us the first XM anomaly of this year. So for that, you can obtain the Plus Alpha Anomaly Medal by joining the Anomaly Battle at Yokosuka, Kanagawa in Japan. So you can help your faction achieve victory also by participating in a limited time global campaign exclusive to the AMER region. So this is a global campaign, but limited to AMER for that 15th of February. This is then followed up on the 22nd of February, the following weekend, with the Plus Alpha Anomaly Medal by joining the Anomaly Battle at Tucson, Arizona in the US. And there you can help your faction achieve victory by participating in a limited time global campaign exclusive to the EMEA region. So that's, again, global campaign on the 22nd of February, but just for EMEA to participate in. That's the last thing we've got for February. So moving on now to March. The 1st of March is first Saturday. The 1st of March is also a Plus Alpha skirmish for the EMEA region, where you can obtain the Plus Alpha Anomaly Medal by joining the skirmish at one of 13 EMEA locations. These are generally announced 10 or so days beforehand, and there are shard skirmishes and beacon skirmishes. So we'll see those locations closer to the time. The 8th of March brings us the skirmish for Plus Alpha for the APAC regions, so Asia Pacific regions. Again, they've got 13 locations there. Again, probably a mix of shard skirmish and beacon skirmishes. Then the 9th of March, the day after, is second Sunday. I won't repeat that again because I've said it a few times. 15th of March brings us the AMER skirmish for the Plus Alpha Anomaly series. Again, that's 13 locations there for them. Our final event in March is the XM Anomaly in Nepal in Italy. So again, you can help your faction achieve victory by participating, joining the battle there. And this is where the APAC region get their time-limited global campaign, which is exclusive to them. And they can help their faction achieve victory there. So if you want to earn the medal, it's either going to the anomalies in person, doing a remote recharge room if you could find one in your area, or doing one of these skirmishes, so you can get to one of those once we get the details announced further. Going into 2025 further, the team have announced XM anomalies in May and June. So 17th of May 2025, there's one in Metro Manila in the Philippines, and Providence, Rhode Island in the USA. In the 14th of June brings us one in Perth in Australia, and one in Chemnitz in Germany. So fortunately, no UK anomalies for me this time around either. Maybe for Q3. Just have to keep hoping it does pop around. But that's all the announced schedule on there. There are a few other little things that have been announced that I'll go through next, so I'll cover that. So not included on this schedule as it's happening in December. If you go to the Intel map and click on events, you'll now see there's an upcoming tab that says Countdown to 2025. This says celebrate another year of Ingress community, adventure and exploration. Time to start thinking about your 2025 New Year's resolutions. Perhaps these bounties can offer some inspiration. And these seem to run from the 22nd of December to basically the end of the year, each lasting a day. So there may be different types of bounties to do during the festive period that will get you some extra things. I don't know yet. It will be interesting to see. I did joke that many people's New Year's resolution is getting out, getting fit, getting exercise, and about fit rep, which I always never shut up about. But I don't know what kind of bounties we'll get on there. It'd be interesting to see what the Ingress team class as community adventure and exploration, if that's what they're aiming at on there. But you can check those for yourself on the Ingress Intel map under events. None of the links to register for Niantic Resistance or Enlightened do anything at present. I doubt they will. But you can click the calendar icon to add it to your calendar. So that's handy, so you at least know that it's coming up and you can put yourself in any reminders that you need to do from there. In addition to all of these news and posts, we also got an app update this week. So on the 10th of December, the Ingress Prime app updated to version 2.156.2. And there's only one line in it that said they upgraded and optimized render pipeline to speed up app start time and improve performance. This was fortunately covered in our very first dev diary. I think I mentioned this previously, that we were meant to get one when the Ingress forums close, as like regular dev diaries, AMAs, player ambassador program. We're waiting for all those things to happen, and we do finally have a dev diary, so that's very nice to see. So I'll just chat briefly about that. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but I will link to it in the show notes. We have our very first dev diary, as I mentioned. So this is posted on the 10th of December and just says dev diary scanner rendering update. And it's written by Alex, who's a technical artist on Ingress. They noted that their focus is more on optimizing the scanner for speed and performance, and it runs obviously Ingress on the Unity engine. And if you're a game dev using Unity, you might know about the latest graphics change to the game engine where they have to update the universal render pipeline, as I mentioned. So in the latest scanner, they had 3 goals, which were optimizing for agents' interaction speed, improving the scanner performance and stability, and reducing overall battery usage on new devices. Alex is talking in this post about how they look to achieve that, talks about Pinkgress for seeing how Ingress is during testing and when it breaks things, and also what they hope to do in the future. I encourage you all to read through it, even if you don't understand everything in it. It's got some nice little tidbits in there, and there are unfortunately a few things that broke as a result of this. I'm just going to cover those briefly next. The latest update to the app did bring a few little bugs, but nothing major. So one of them is you now get no colours when scanning. Before, if you scan in the Enlightened portal, you'd get green, Macro portal would be red. So they said that it's a known issue and they're investigating different options. There's thin lines during overclock, which they'd hoped to fix, but Alex said it's a bit of an elusive bug, so they do hope to fix it shortly. Then finally, visibility issues under multi-layered fields, and Alex says he's investigating it, and we will definitely fix this in the next update. So those are just from their social media accounts. There's nothing official that's been out on the website or anything like that, but it's good to know that the issues have been acknowledged and they're working on them. As I said, nothing super game breaking. I know some agents with epilepsy or motion sickness are saying they're experiencing issues using the scanner, especially the visibility issues with the multi-layered fields. Personally, I've not experienced any issues, but obviously if you have, do report it so they know to deal with it quicker. Then I just quickly want to cover issues with login and Android 14 to 15 as well. On the 11th of December, Facebook and Meta, which meant Instagram, WhatsApp, all those kind of services, broke. So that affected people using Facebook to log into Ingress. It's now resolved, but it's just a reminder to make sure you've got alternative logins such as Google or Apple or whatever logins you can have, so you've at least got another service there and still able to use Ingress. These have happened in the past. We've had issues with Google as well, and various things where people haven't been able to log in. So if you can, do make sure you've got another method linked. Additionally, an issue was raised on the 12th of December where Niantic apps might not have worked if you upgraded from Android 14 to Android 15, and you just need to double check that location services are enabled for each application. Then you should be absolutely fine to do that. But if you've got any other bugs, do make sure you report them in your app or on the Ingress Help Center so they know what they should be fixing, what they should be doing. That's about it for Anomaly News and Ingress News. What I'm going to do now is just move into a little bit of Wayfarer news, which is more about Lightship. I just want to talk about my experience in reporting things and some new things on the map as well. So I'll get into that next.
What's up? This is Smooth Guy O, and you listen to the Ingress Insight podcast.
There's not a lot happening with Wayfarer at the moment, with the challenges having finished and all the rewards of that having been sent out. However, I did just want to highlight a few updates. Niantic Lightship, which is what the team use for their map, it's where all the way spots go that you nominate into the Lightship map first and then on to other things. It is no longer Niantic Lightship, it's now Niantic Spatial. I covered this being updated last time, I believe, but instead of being called Niantic Lightship, it's now called Niantic Spatial, and obviously they're pushing for the whole AR, VR scanning, getting those in and done. So it's not Wayfarer. There was also an issue previously with Scanniverse on Android, where scans done of wayspots were being corrupted and corrupting the data that was in them. It's now working absolutely fine. So if you are participating in Scanniverse or the VPS Activators pilot and you're doing it as part of that, should work absolutely fine now on Android. But if you're participating in the pilot, raise any issues in the Wayfarer forum and they'll be able to assist you there. Then I also want to cover that there's been some new wayspots added to the map in Pokemon Go only. So these are a limited time thing and only in the US. So what's happened is McDonald's have got a sponsorship deal with Pokemon Go. So they've added lots of new Pokestops and gyms. From what I've read, many of them seem to be misplaced and not correct or not updated. I just want to add this in here as a do not nominate McDonald's thing because they're a chain business. They're not generally meeting the criteria for great place to be social, exercise, explore. Maybe there's a fancy plaque or a mural at one that you think may fit those, but in general I wouldn't say they meet the criteria, so just take caution. You may see them in reviews on Wayfarer, so as I say, it's just take caution. People may misunderstand and think they qualify, even though they're sponsored locations and they're not on the map per full time. They're just until January sometime, I think. I didn't read the full thing because I'm not in the US, unfortunately. And then finally, to round off this Wayfarer section, it's not really news, it's just something that I did. So you may know for Pokemon Go, lots of the power spots are home related businesses or old things that are no longer on the map, they're no longer relevant. I reported a home-based business I knew personally was no longer there. It went through, added additional information, and it was rejected, even though it's definitely 100% a home-based business that's no longer there. So I had to follow this up on the help chat, and then it did finally get removed after showing them where it was on Google. So that wasn't a great experience after waiting a while after reporting that from what I thought was pretty obvious. However, I did get another home-based business removed from the map, as well as a duplicate for a local butcher's that got removed because there were 2 power spots on there I could see on the map. So there's no point in them both existing because they were both somehow at different locations. I do like that the option is now there, at least in Pokemon Go, because I've got a lot of Ingress way spots near me that have been imported as power spots, so I know they're correct. It's been a bit of a blend of businesses or things that are no longer there that I'm just trying to tidy the map up, even though I know it's unlikely other people are doing the same thing, but I'd prefer to have all of them be correct personally. So that was just a little thing of my experience in reporting some power spots in Pokemon Go. Obviously, if you see them and you want to do that yourself, you just tap on it when you're nearby, tap the question mark and then the exclamation mark, and then it comes up with a load of edit options and then reporting options there where you can, as with reports in Ingress, attach supporting information, which will then help the reviewers hopefully make the right decision. I know they didn't in my first instance, but they did for the future ones, and the help chat team were able to see and make the right decision there.
This is Shimon, former community manager for the Witcher Monster Slayer, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
That's all from me for this week, folks. So, gone over the Ingress news, anomaly news, and the Wayfarer news. Next week, we should hopefully have a few more details on what the Plus Alpha schedule looks like, such as the badges, things like that, and any extra things we've got coming up, and maybe details on the global campaign. Bounty Blitz 2 will also have happened. I've recorded this podcast a little early, so it's going to happen as you're listening to the podcast. So I'll cover what happened there and any Ingress news, Wayfarer news, anomaly news that's dropped in that time. During the festive period, I'm planning on having a few special episodes out, so some of them might have been recorded already as you're listening to this, but I'll try and get those out every day is my plan from the 22nd to the 31st, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you again for listening, agents. Hope you enjoy the show. Do leave any comments on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening. I recorded me talking about Bounty Blitz 2 before that had actually happened. And obviously I've already covered it in the podcast, so I'm covering it next week, so ignore what past me just said. No Bounty Blitz 2 covered next week because we've gone over it this week. One thing I'm going to add in here before I close out the episode is that I've updated Inverse Insights. So it used to be called Inverse Insights, not an Ingress podcast. It is now updated to have the subtitle of Gaming Interviews. Hopefully this gives you an idea of how it's going to evolve going forward. So I've already covered one non-Niantic game with the Witcher Monster Slayer. I've got a few other gaming people lined up for 2025, plus some people who work in the gaming industry but not necessarily on games, if that makes sense. So hopefully you keep listening to that, and then let me know if there's any games you want me to try and contact people for that you want to hear about, whether they're ongoing or not. I've got a few things in the pipeline, but I'll update you all once I get any more confirmed on that. Have a great day and happy hacking. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well, Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to freepublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon. But you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.